Welcome to the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
That's Ashley.
That's Kim. We're here to recap and relive our favorite moments from GyeongSeong Creature 2, Episode 4.
We're going to jump right in. So this is your one and only warning. Spoilers ahead. So if you have not yet, make sure you go watch Episode 4 before you come back here to join us so we can talk about this crazy episode. But today's episode is titled The Other Side, Between a Pretense of Virtue and Vice. We learned that Yeongil was the one to attack HoJae. Chaeok has been captured, and SeungJo implores HoJae to remember, which he does. We wrap up this episode very nicely with a cameo from Lady Maeda, or is it Lady Maeda? Which, if you've seen this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
All right. Welcome to the KDrama Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kim.
We're here to unpack your all-time favorite Korean dramas and chat about all the reasons that we find these shows so charming.
And so addictive. And we know you do too, so settle in with some ramen and a boba tea while we dive into the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim. Crazy! Stop asking me for an email password. I don't have it. You know I'm tired when I start singing about what's happening. It's a bad sign.
It's a bad sign.
Would you like to plug the Ashley T?
Yeah, Ashley T is on Instagram at the KDrama Show. I've been doing much better at
It's been great.
finding stuff and actually just posting on Instagram in general. I think I'm done traveling for a while. That's been a big problem, is I've been gone about every other week for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I've been very limited on time, but I should be...
Except for when we travel in 2 weeks.
Well, that's our own fault. It's not just me. So yes, Instagram, the KDrama Show.
So this is episode 4, The Other Side, Between a Pretense of Virtue and Vice. So this first topic I called Framed. So we open with Taesong's memories kind of intermingling with present day.
Right.
But he's flashing between the basement prison at Onsong, like way back in the day, which has been destroyed. Lights are like strobing, the cells are broken in, and he flashes back to Chaeok in present day, who is begging him, like,
to not come any closer.
Stay away after the car accident. And then we cut to the observation cell in Onsong with the new scary creature, like, closing in on him.
Right.
Almost like he is the experiment patient.
Right.
That we saw
in the previous
episode. But HoJae wakes up in the hospital, learns that Yeongil is in critical condition, and HoJae is actually the prime suspect for the attack, which we kind of figured with the way things were positioned. But his DNA is the only other DNA besides Yeongil's on the bat. So, of course, that's not a good
sign.
Not a good look.
Right.
But Detective Jisoo actually accuses HoJae of plotting with Silverbill to murder Yeongil and Ki-hoon because of the debts that were looming at Bugong. But we learn the truth of the matter, which is actually that HoJae was assaulted by Yeongil before blacking out, which is HoJae's memory. So he knows,
that it was
him.
Did you also notice before he wakes up and he's having all of these memories resurface, there was Miss Nawal yelling Taesong. And that's what brought him, like, that's what he woke up to.
I wasn't sure who the voice was.
Yeah, it was Miss Nawal.
I'm glad you clarified that. But we cut to an elderly Lady Maeda, who we assume is Lady Maeda, performing her tea ceremony. And she is meeting with the chairman of Cheonsong Hospital. They start discussing the human condition, just the fact that men are fundamentally evil and self-serving. And the purpose of their work is to evolve and progress beyond these current limitations that men in general have. Not men, but man.
Humankind,
Right. But Maeda's final request is for a particular person to be brought back, which I'm assuming is HoJae. They don't really clarify. But outside the door, we see there is an eavesdropper. Which brings us into topic 2, which is called Loose Cannon.
See, that was both my topic 1 and my topic 2. Everything right there.
Wow, I actually combined more than you for once.
Yeah, because I had for topic 2, I had the whole quote that the elderly lady Maeda was saying when she was talking about, like, you know, what is it that rules a person? What is it that makes them who they are? Mm-hmm. Is it our fate? Is it our ability? And just, like, she's basically lecturing the chairman at this point, and he's just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll do whatever you say.
Taking his scolding.
Right. So we're at the building now where the intense fight had taken place, and Captain Yu is there, and he is kind of just, like, looking at the damage of everything, of, like, because there was a lot that happened. And he gets a phone call from Detective No saying, you know, that HoJae is not being very helpful. It seems that he was really, you know, kind of shocked that Yeongil was in the ICU, but he can be, you know, discharged here. We'll get more information after this. And as she is on the phone, Captain Yu is continuing to look around and ends up finding a canister of the nitrogen that had been thrown in, and he sees on the bottom that it says JeonSeong Bio. So he's like, okay, well, there's a lead. Now there's something we have to look into. Mm-hmm. At the same time, because again, this show is lovely at flip-flopping, a man has come into HoJae's room and has placed a piece of paper in his hand and starts to take out his IV, and we realize that it is actually SeungJo, and he is telling HoJae, do you want to get out of here so you can find your girl? Basically is the bottom line.
Well, he claims that he's there to help, which is the first time we've really heard that from him.
Right.
He's tried to kill many people, so this is a bit of a motivation flip for him, I think.
Well, and we know nothing about him, so what is your motivation actually? What kind of a flip?
Well, and we've seen some, what I would interpret to be some level of affection for HoJae because of that scene where he rescues Silverbill from SeungJo. So there's clearly some weighty history there, but
that we don't know yet.
We don't know yet. Well, that I don't know yet.
We then have Cheok waking up, and she is chained. In a
Topic 3, captured.
Oh, okay. Cool. So yeah, this is all my topic 3. But yeah, she's chained up in a very familiar looking cell. And in typical Cheok fashion, we're going to try and find our way out. But it's kind of hard when you are chained.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting, though, that this corridor seemed like the same one where they had held Myungja when she was being kept. Held.
We then return back to the hospital, and Detective No finds out that HoJae has disappeared. He is gone. And he has just, taken up SeungJo and was like, okay, yeah, we'll get me out of here so I can at least try to figure out what's going on. But he makes a stop at the ICU because he needs to, check on Yeongil. I mean, that is his only family that he knows of. And if he's going to be accused of hurting his family, he wants to.
I think he also wants to know why.
Why'd you hit me?
Like, he kind of knows.
Right.
But
maybe.
Well, given the conversation that they kind of had on the couch that day over lunch, I think he kind of understands that he's preventing him from going further down this road, but at the same time, it's like, whoa.
Yikes.
That escalated quickly. But I thought it was interesting when Detective Jisoo goes back into the hospital room, and the handcuffs, they're not just open, they're snapped. And it's not at the chain, like the cuff itself is like snapped in half. And I feel like that should be your first red flag that
something else is going on.
Something odd is happening. Same thing with like the extent of the damage that the captain was noticing at that facility. It was just beyond anything. I mean, there's damage to infrastructure, to steel doors, things that
Right.
footprints in a steel door that should not have existed.
Right.
So he's already having like little woo woo going off in the back of his
Something
head.
is
This is a bit
not-
supernatural, superhuman.
Not good. But yes, at this, SeungJo has made it out, and he's looking at a motorcycle, which we can assume is probably for HoJae.
Is HoJae's.
Too, but like that SeungJo had brought to the hospital for him to use. And this is when he realized that HoJae is still inside the hospital. And that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
When you have the entire police force
Flooding in the doors.
looking for you in the hospital.
Right. But HoJae goes to Yeongil and asks him why he attacked him. But the police now know that HoJae is in Yeongil's room, and SeungJo is calculating a plan of escape. Yeongil has awoken, just briefly, and he's basically pleading with him again, hey, don't go. Just stay as you are. Stay as HoJae is right now. Keep living as HoJae. But HoJae has to get out, right? He's being pursued for attempted murder and murder charges now. So he has this quick change into like a doctor's smock and starts to look for an exit. But this brings us to topic 4, which I called Mother. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Chaeyook in her cell has realized that there's cameras everywhere. This is a lot more high tech than probably she initially thought it was going to be for wherever she is currently at, and she's continuing to try and break out. At the same time, this is when our scary guy has been informed of the uniqueness of Chaeyook's Najin. So there's like this, like the lead scientist or whoever he's supposed to be is like, okay, so this is what her brain looks like, and this is where the Najin has settled for her compared to any of ours, where the Najin settles at a different part of the brain, and they attach when they're like babies, basically. So it means that, like SeungJo, there's a mature Najin that they probably received from somebody else. So this is what makes her different, is the maturity and then the location of the brain that the Najin has attached itself to.
Right, because they know SeungJo is the known factor, right? Mm-hmm. His mother had the Najin
first, and then...
well, not first. I mean, she passed one to him.
Yeah, it was her Najin.
Was it her Najin, though?
Yeah, because it was a mature Najin.
Okay. But yeah, and then it's identical in the way that it was. So they're like, obviously she's gotten it in a similar fashion. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was really fascinating looking at the scans. It resembled the tree-like structure that Seishin had used to protect her from the bullets in season 1,
right,
down in the holding cell when they first meet, and she cries out,
for mom.
Omani, yeah. I just thought that was kind of poetic, that she's like still there with her,
Mm-hmm.
But Silverbill learns she is not the only prisoner, and we see the grandson, whose name I cannot remember right now. But he had just gotten a job at JeonSeong and been infected with the Najin and is in the process of waiting for the symbiosis to kind of complete. Mm-hmm. But he'd been told that this would cure him of his crippled leg.
Junghyuk. I had to look it up.
Oh. But this brings us to topic 5, which I call Death Cure. And not the Maze Runner one.
Okay, I'll have you keep going so I can find myself in my notes again. I'm sorry.
But we cut to a table of 6 patients in white being told that by drinking the glass of water in front of them, they would also receive 10 million won, which is about, $8,000 to $9,000 in American dollars. The grandson hesitates, asking if this is truly going to cure his leg, and he is reassured that this is going to do that, and they all eagerly partake. But it seems like he's the only one who's survived this trial, because when, we cut to the cells, the holding cells, down where Chaeyook and this guy are, and they're going through the motions of, the intense pain, which is causing them to beat their heads against the wall, to basically lose their sanity.
Yeah.
To just, I don't know, they just die. But Chaeok is watching him, and she can see that going up his spine is a Najin.
Is a Najin, yeah.
And so it's successful. But topic 6, which I called friends. 친구.
So HoJae makes it back home. And this is again when he's having another flashback of asking Yeongil, what was my life like before? And then of SeungJo, who he, is like, hey, do you remember anything? I'm here to see if you have any of your memories. And then the flashback of grabbing Chaeok, saying her name. And he's decided enough is enough, basically, and he is gonna look through Yeongil's stuff, his desk, and he picks up the photo of Juntaek, which is on the shelf next to him, and takes it out of the frame and finds more black and white photos. And it's the photos of the House of Golden Treasure crew and the friends and just kind of the life that was. And he gets back to Juntaek's photo, and it unfolds, and it is a man that looks just like him, because it is Jeon Tae-sang. And I thought this was a really cool scene of just the transition back and forth in between time. Because as he's looking at these, he's hearing the voices of Miss Nawal and Mr. Gu, and they're going, Tae-sang, are you ready? Like, let's go. We need to take the picture. We can't stand here all day. I mean, these are old-fashioned cameras. You have to stand there for a certain period of time so that the image will take and, get onto the glass. And so then we find him in this memory stepping out and taking pictures with all of the people he's cared about, and drops the pictures. And then we're back in present day, and he's picking them up. And he goes back up to his office and stares off at the wall that Chaeok had stared at before, and decides that there has to be something more going on, and breaks down the wall. And I know you had said something about that a couple episodes ago. You're like, there has to be all of the treasure back there.
Yep.
But he does. He finds the door to his room of treasures and begins to look around, probably in a state of just like, where did this come from? Like, how long was this here? Why was this hidden?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think he remembers it.
Parts of it, maybe.
I think that it's familiar.
But why is it familiar? I bet that would be
I think he's not sure entirely why, but I think that he's, having been immersed in that memory already, I think that he is understanding more. But SeungJo has taken HoJae's bike and is lurking around the shop now. But I just think it's interesting how after, there's a false wall right behind the drywall, behind the plaster. There's a false wall, and then there's a safe door, and he goes into the safe. And it just feels like this room has remained untouched by just the troubles of the world. Yeah. And you feel that in season 1 when he and Chaeok are there and they're looking through the treasure room, and he's kind of showing off his little,
collection.
His collection that he's, kind of squirreled away for himself. And then you feel it again here, where it's not changed for an entire 50, 70 years or whatever it is. But he gets to kind of look through the different identities that he's had through the years as well, which I thought was kind of a cool little touch. Yeah. Just to like conceal his age. But then he sees a newspaper that had Chaeok's face on it. It wasn't quite all the way back to the GyeongSeong days, but it seemed like it was like maybe 80s or...
I thought it was the wanted poster.
Was it?
That's what I thought it was her wanted poster of when he took it off the wall.
Was that what it was? Okay.
That's what I think
I thought it was a photograph, and I thought that it was more recent than that, so maybe I missed that. But But anyway, this next
Yeah.
topic is called Awakening. You like how I stole all of these titles
Yes.
from season 1?
Season 1,
titles.
yes. I love it.
But he's looking at the photo, right? And
Yeah.
then the lights go out.
Well, he hears something, and he comes out into his office and knows that there's something or someone there, but he can't see it or them. And it's like, I know you're here. Like, just come out, just, like, stop hiding. And it's SeungJo, and then he just begins to throw him around again.
Yep.
And is beginning to taunt him and is like, how are you going to find the woman when you're this weak? Like, you're pathetic. Like, you can't even take me on. And you think that you're going to try and find this person? Like, this is a joke.
Yeah. It feels like it's his way of trying to do him a favor by, like, bringing that out in him.
Yeah.
Just a very weird way. But, I mean, if you look at his upbringing, it's probably the only thing he knows is tough love.
Right.
But it didn't feel like he was trying to kill him.
No.
It felt like he was trying to be like, hey, snap out of it. You don't have
Right.
time to be HoJae. Or this HoJae.
Right.
You need to be...
It's a snap out, or like...
If you want to survive,
need-
this is who you have to be.
Right, I need you to figure out that this version will die.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to get mad enough to figure that out. Almost.
You know what my secret is? I'm always angry.
Okay.
But he does mention that you're going to get yourself killed because no one's dared to mess with these people before except for one person.
Yeah, this clan.
And then he says, don't you miss those times.
When he goes, I know that your memories are returning. Do you want your power back? And stabs him with his tentacle arm.
Well, they stabbed each other.
They did, but SeungJo's does a lot more damage.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Significant more damage.
Considering one of them has superhuman healing powers, yeah.
Right. But he tells HoJae, you once said to me, don't run, face it dead on, look it right in the eye. Only then will you have a shot at winning. Kind of just like
He says,
this is who you are.
He says, though, those were your words, Hyung.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tells him to remember, then curb stomps him. As you do.
That works for me. Usually I totally fold and do
That's-
whatever somebody tells me to do
That's
after that.
also how I like to end my conversation, is with a curb stomp. But Detective Jisoo arrives at the office, and there's nobody there, just signs of a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to topic 8, which I titled Caught.
We are back at JeonSeong, and Taehyuk is yelling at the young kid in the cell of like, are you okay? Like, please, basically like, don't die on me.
Yeah.
Not that she can do anything to help him out.
She's probably hoping if she can make a friend with him, that the two of them could together maybe...
Be able to overthrow or escape somehow.
The only problem is he's there voluntarily, so...
I don't think he knew that was going to happen, though.
Yeah, maybe. That's true. That's fair.
But this is when our scary guy walks up and says, that he won't be able to recognize anyone when he wakes up, and he's going to have some intense cravings.
Basically, like, no, you don't have an ally here.
Right.
Stop plotting.
But then he, like, talks about, like, the Najin. He's like, as far as I know, no Najin has ever left. So how did you get yours?
And are there more of you?
Right. And she tries to get some information out of him, just like he is trying to get information out of her. Because he wants to know how in the world have you survived without any supervision? Because the Najin are destructive. Like, you can't just be out in the world and expect that everything's going to be all fine when you have the capability to annihilate hundreds of people in no
Not
time.
just the capability, but the desire.
Right.
And then she says, "Don't tell me this is Onsung Hospital."
She knows.
Yeah, right.
She knows.
But he's like, yeah, that hospital was closed after the Greater East Asia War. It was left in ruins, and this was built on top, founded by Lady Maeda and former chairman Kato. Shinji-oh, his son, has taken over, who's the current chairman, and also Do Kyung-suk's father. Just kidding.
It's a great time to be had by all. Yeah, this is when Chaeuk has realized that nothing ever stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And how, like, devastating for her.
Her nightmare has continued after all of that. She literally lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad, her mom, the man
person
she loved.
Yeah.
Her life. For all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Crazy. But the chairman greets Lady Maeda as she arrives at JeonSeong Hospital. SeungJo has dragged HoJae back to JeonSeong. And then we see Korean Drax at the same time, accompanied by some very, very big guns, dragging Chaeuk out of her cell. And she is brought to that observation level where, while HoJae is off, looked like in that training room.
Yeah.
Where we saw SeungJo get slapped silly, you know.
Yeah.
But these soldiers up in that observation area with Chaeuk are all armed to the teeth with nitrogen and weapons, as she is unchained and brought to stand before, you know, Lady Maeda. But then we see SeungJo again.
So yeah, SeungJo has dropped HoJae because HoJae can't function right now. And he says that he has to make a choice. You know, I don't care who you are. If you're Jung Tae-sung, if you're Jung HoJae, I just want you to go back to who I knew. That is what I want for old time's sake. At the same time, there's a stare down happening between Chaeuk and this elderly Lady Maeda. And as the stare down continues, the elderly Maeda steps out of the way and somebody else begins to walk up behind her and stand in her place. And it is a woman in white. And back to HoJae, he sees that in front of him is actually a tank of water. And in this tank of water, there is this Najin that is swimming around.
Do you think it's his? Original?
I mean, it's a likelihood, but also they have so many.
But why was this one not in a capsule in that room?
I don't know. Different experiments do different things. I have no idea.
Or that was the free range.
That was the free.
The organic free range. Sorry. Go ahead.
But Chaeuk comes face to face, and we see that it is actually Lady Maeda from her past, who is standing now in front of her.
A young Lady Maeda. Unaged, unchanged.
And she just looks up at her and she goes, "It's been so long, Miss Yoon Chaeuk." And then in the tank, the Najin swims up to the glass and screeches.
Goes, knock, knock. Let me in.
End of episode.
Episode 11. Or 4.
4.
Depending on how you're keeping track. All right. Character curiosity.
I have HoJae, all caps, dude. What did you do before you lost your memory?
Really, though, that's a great question to be asking right now.
That's what I want to know.
If you were pals with the guy who's, like, murdering everybody brutally, I also would like to know.
So, yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah.
For my character of curiosity. What do you have?
My character of curiosity, I want to know who the old lady is.
Mm-hmm.
And what the need for the facade was. Yeah. If she is pretending to be Lady Maeda, which we don't... No one really ever called her that. They just kind of misdirected us into believing that that was supposed to be Lady Maeda.
The chairman called her Lady Maeda.
Did he at their meeting?
Yeah,
okay,
so
see, I didn't catch that for sure.
Yeah, because that's when it's like you first learn that there is a Lady Maeda. Because he, after her saying, you know, there can be no more setbacks in our experiments, and, you know, he has to return for that to happen, and he's just says, yes, Lady Maeda.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I wasn't just blowing smoke there.
No.
I want to know what the reason is for this facade, particularly with the chairman. The other half of that theory could be that she's, like, cloning herself somehow, which wouldn't be totally out of left field considering how much money they have.
And who she is.
Yeah. She's a little off-kilter anyway.
Or if it's a family member that could step in.
Yeah, maybe. It's like the Taylor Swift body double. Just kidding. It's a different conspiracy. I just... at the end of my notes, I put Lady Maeda moves out of the way to reveal ... Lady Maeda, the mommy Najin.
Oh, no.
I mean, that's got to be where they're harvesting all of the Najin from. I mean, you know, I don't know. That would be my biggest assumption here, is that we're farming all of these Najin from Maeda. And that by some weird extent, these are the children that she could never have with Commissioner Ishikawa. There's some deeply seated trauma here from Lady Maeda.
We are armchair diagnosing right now.
We do have an armchair. And a podcast. Which I can say anything I want to with, you know, 0 repercussions.
I mean, you edit it, so.
It's true. Final thoughts.
That's a great way to have the middle of your show be. Because, like I said last episode 4 is the middle of the show, but also you're a little bit past. There's no slowing down.
Yeah, when you only have 7 episodes, you got to get the ball rolling.
And this, like, the ball was already rolling, but this just, like, pushed it. I'm excited to see more of what HoJae's past is going to show. Also, like, Lady Maeda, like, clearly you took the Najin, like, you had to. But, like, what you doing? Like, what's going on? What's your plan? I want to know.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts?
We know Lady Maeda has an obsession with Taesung. We also know that she has a new curiosity about Chaeok. Well, it's not new anymore, but she had a newly founded curiosity about Chaeok because of her relationship with Seishin, which we still have not delved into at this point in the show. I'm waiting for her to call her sister.
Okay. I'm trying to remember because...
I think they're sisters. Or something weird like that.
But that would mean that she would have had Maeda before she had Chaeok. And she was missing after Chaeok was born.
Well, yeah, she could have still had her before.
But I don't think they're sisters.
No. Okay, well.
But that's also because...
You've seen the show, so you would know.
But that's also, but season 1, she treated her as if she was, like, a maid or, like, a confidant in that way, not really, like, a familial...
You didn't really ever see them interact.
No, just the few memories that she had that had Seishin in it, in the memory.
Yeah. Maybe Maeda was the, like, daughter of the original Najin. I don't know. I'm so tired. Yeah, anyway. The obsession with Taesung has to come back into play somehow. Because she is the head of the organization that is shoving Najin into people's necks. So.
And she's insane, so there's also that.
Yeah. And Hua. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Is it officially a year?
By the time this comes out, yes. In 3 days will be our 1 year of actually recording. Starting the whole recording process.
That's crazy. It has not felt like a year.
But it
has also felt like 10 years in some ways.
We took a lot on.
It's a lot of work. You don't realize how much work goes into trying to have some sort of prep, and then the editing, and then the promoting, and
just the consistent schedule even of just recording
is tough.
Making sure that we both are like, yep, this is what we're gonna talk about, this is what we're gonna do. Then our computer doesn't like us, along with the
when has my computer ever liked me?
I don't think it has.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever.
Word.
But no, it has been.
It's been
so
fun.
Much fun.
It's been a lot of fun. It would be more fun if someone would edit for me.
I feel like you would enjoy at least having like somebody do like the main editing, and then you do like the fine tuning of.
Yeah.
I struggled really, really hard yesterday with my video because I don't want to do a script because I don't want to feel like I'm reading something off, because I don't like how that sounds.
But you didn't want to miss the information.
But then also I live near a train, and so then the train would be blaring its horn. But then I just I had this moment, like I've watched it a couple times since, and I just had to be like, get over it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you do the video editing. Like, that would just stress me out.
Watching myself?
Yes. I hate watching myself. I hate having to listen to it when I see it, like seeing my face. Like, when I listen to, like, once the podcast is edited and I listen to it before I post it, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think it did at first because I was like, ew. And now I'm like,
now you've heard yourself every week for the last year.
For the last year, multiple times a week. And it doesn't bother me anymore. But, like, I was like, I'm putting myself out there in a way that I'm
not comfortable with.
I'm not comfortable with it. And I'm like, I am on YouTube. I have my face all over YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's just, it smacked me in the face yesterday, the reality of, like, how uncomfortable I feel with it.
You don't have to do it.
But I want to, like, because, like, it's something, like, oh, like, I get to talk about what I find interesting. But then I was like, it took me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Of, like, I would record it, and then I would have to start all over and record it and start over. Because I'm not keeping any of those drafts. And that, like...
You'll get better at it.
Yeah, because
you've only done 3
right
that way, so
but I was just like,
it will be fine.
It will be fine. That's why I was like, I just have to get over it.
Yeah,
but it was just one of those, like,
and you will. It'll become more natural to you.
More natural. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, this is still so new that
and maybe instead of scripts, you do bullet points.
Maybe
that way you can talk like a normal human.
Not feel so,
but not panic thinking you're gonna miss one of your...
Right, because I realized in my last video I said very, very, like, constantly, and I was like, stop talking. Shut up.
It is a very well-known fact that V is a very big fan of Bing Crosby, and he was very, very excited. So I'm very, very excited.
But that was the best video, and I was like, just hit post.
We good. It's fine.
It was very, very exciting.
Don't think about it too hard.
I know, and now I have, like, a mascara flake in my eye, so, like, now my eye is itching, and so, like, I look like I
ramen spice in my eyeball when I took out my contacts earlier.
Oh no.
That's why I was up there a little bit longer too, is because I kept doing this, trying to get the spicy out of my eyeball.
Yeah. No, I'm not crying. Anyway. Did you remember what you wanted to talk to me about?
No, I completely derailed after we started talking about that.
Sorry. I just wanted to bring you in my the little
It was about a show.
side journey I'm having. Okay.
Which show?
We don't know. I'm just kidding.
Something. Okay, I'm leaving now.
Okay, bye.
Like what you're hearing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any new episodes. We'd love to connect with you on our Instagram at The KDrama Show. For more behind-the-scenes content, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Links are in the show notes. Thanks for hanging out with us on The KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim, and we'll see you next time.